To finish off the nightmare, take the door to the outside from the lamp just beyond Microlash's maze. There, a cluster of crows and dogs guard 2 bloodstone chunks. Take the stairs ahead and keep left. At this point in the game, the Shadows of Yharnam can be found as normal enemies, but luckily have much less HP than their boss counterparts. Follow the path upward, taking out the shadows along the way. Two more bloodstone chunks can be found at the end of a thin path between the railing and the wall, before the third set of stairs. And after climbing the third staircase, you'll see a pig with its back to you farther up ahead. These pigs are much stronger than the ones from earlier in game, so taking this one out with a visceral is by far the best idea, even though connecting with it can be difficult while standing on the stairs. A powerful blood gemstone lies behind the tree further onward, but collecting it will probably make 2 more pigs aggressive. Rather than defeating them, run past the 2, making sure to keep their attention as you run into the group of shadows farther ahead. This is one of the few situations in the game where different enemy types are hostile to one another by default, and letting them fight each other will make your job significantly easier. Don't miss the side staircase that leads down at this point. While optional, it's where the Bellringer woman of this area is found. There are actually several points of interest along this path, including bloodstone chunks, more shadows, the Bellringer, and a scurrying beast. After making your way to the end, you'll be placed back on an earlier point in the main path, which you should follow once again. Now that all the enemies have been defeated, doing so should cause no problems. Finally, at the end, the spirit of the Thumerian Queen stands just outside the boss room of Mergo's wet nurse. Assumingly, her baby is found inside. We will complete that fight in this video, but for now, take the shortcut elevator on the left. When you reach the floor below, you should recognize it as the section where the first shadows were fought. But more notably, you should notice the cage elevator hanging to the left. This one brings you to the entrance to Microlash's maze, which means it extends an already present shortcut to the lamp at the loft's base. You may have also noticed that this new elevator has a broken door, meaning you could step right off of it while riding it. Do just that to reach a hidden hallway found near the midpoint of the elevator's thoroughfare. The chest at the end contains an inflicted organ, a chalice ingredient. But more important is what lies up ahead. Make sure you have some sedatives on hand as you press onward, because there are 3 winter lanterns coming up. Stay out of their sight as much as possible to minimize damage and frenzy buildup, and remember to dodge at the last second to avoid their grab. There are several things to remember while fighting lanterns. First is obviously the grab attack, but keeping an eye on the frenzy meter is also very important, especially since it will continue climbing for a period even after the lantern has been killed. Lastly, you should know that you will begin to take damage over time just by being in the sight of one of these monsters for long enough. Each of these mechanics has the power to kill you, and forgetting even one can do you in. If the frenzy is causing you the biggest problem, Try wearing the Ashen Hunter set or the Graveguard set. These have high frenzy resist, and sedatives can always be purchased in the Hunter's Dream now that we have the Cosmic Eye Watcher badge. Just after defeating the last of the three, you'll be able to pick up a Tempering Damp Blood Gem, an extremely powerful stone that can fit into any slot. Then make your way into the building ahead. The giant spiders in this room may have human faces, but they are no different than the ones we fought before. Stay to their sides or back and take them all out. Follow the staircase down and pull the lever found at the end of the hallway. This releases the brain of Mensis from its chain, and removes the frenzy-inflicting light from several sections of the loft. With the brain gone, this expands the area we can explore. Drop through the hole in the floor. This room is split into halves with several giant spiders on your side, and a Wind Lantern on the opposite. Take out the lantern first. You'll have to cross these narrow beams to reach it. Chances are, you will have been in the lantern's sight for some time once you reach the opposite side. Keep an eye on those meters, I'm not kidding. After defeating it, a chest can be looted on this side of the room for the Choir Bell, an arcane item that heals other players during co-op. Crossing the beam once again, leave through the door ahead. This path normally is bathed in the frenzy light of the Mensis brain, and these treasures are difficult to obtain as a result. But now that we've plunged into the abyss, these become free items. At the opposite end of the avenue, a door can be opened with the iron door key that leads back into Michael Ash's maze. This is normally how one would reach this point, without taking the hidden hall from the broken elevator. Instead of returning to the maze, however, drop down from the path where the brain was hanging, to pick up the one and only Blood Rock found in the main game. This will finally allow you to take the weapon of your choice to +10. This lower landing leads back onto the bridge from the entrance to the loft, and yes, this is the direction we want to go. Make your way down the stairs, killing the attendants and chief attendants as though it's your first time in the area. Once you reach the section with the collapsed floor, you may notice an elevator you haven't seen before. Take it down into the abyss, where the Mensis brain is to be found. After locating the Great One in the darkness, use the Make Contact gesture learned from the Upper Cathedral Ward. Be patient, as this part takes time. After holding the pose for 60 seconds, you are awarded the most powerful Moon Rune found in Bloodborne. I should also mention that you can kill the brain at this point, and will receive a living string as a result. All that remains now is to defeat Mergo's wet nurse. Take the 2 elevators up from the lamp at the base, then take the additional elevator back up to the Thumerian Queen. Enter the cathedral she's facing, and take the elevator up to the lunarium at the top of the loft, where the boss awaits. As certainly one of the most compelling designs of a boss found in the game, the Wet Nurse, which is assumingly a great one, uses 6 curved swords to attack with at once. That being said, she mainly only attacks in 2 different ways. The first is a flurry of sword swings while walking around that inflicts chip damage with each hit. You'll want to stay behind her at this stage to minimize the damage you receive, or simply wait until her rampage is over if you prefer not to be hit at all. The second type is with multiple swords in one powerful swing. She can charge across the arena, performing a scissor-like attack, slam all 6 weapons into the ground like a hammer, or perform a series of fluid, spinning uppercuts. All of these attacks inflict a large amount of damage, so you'll want to time your rolls so that the attacks hit you during the invincibility frames of your dodge, or, that is to say, during the highest point of your roll arc. And when I say rolling, I mean just that. You should not be dashing during this fight. In fact, you should never lock onto this boss at all. Most of her sword swings are meant to track your position based on where you would be during lock-on. Stay locked off and control your camera manually. I realize this may not be comfortable for all players, but being able to fight while locked off is an advanced skill of both Souls games and Bloodborne, and if you allow yourself to cultivate it, you will reap the rewards in the long run. The last thing to mention for the Wet Nurse is the special attack where she blankets the area in darkness. If you've inflicted a certain amount of damage to her, she will also summon several clones to attack you during this phase. I think most people who die to the Wet Nurse do so because they try to attack her during this segment, not realizing that the darkness is temporary. Rather than risking your HP to multiple copies of the Wet Nurse, simply run around the perimeter of the circular arena. If done correctly, none of the clones will be able to hit you, and once the spell dissipates, you'll be able to finish her off in the free and clear. After slaying the Nightmare, you'll receive a lamp and another 1/3 of umbilical cord.